What's going on, guys? Wiz here. Let's start with this video. Horror is one of the most oversaturated genres in film, but it's my favorite. I personally enjoy psychological, body horror, most movies with vampires, paranormal, and even zombies. With so many jump scare movies and forgettable sequels, it's sometimes easy to overlook some movies. So today, I'm sharing with you 9 underrated horror films that didn't get the recognition they deserve when they were released. As above, so below. We start in the catacombs beneath Paris. Over 6 million human bones stacked beneath the city. As above, so below follows a group of explorers searching for the Philosopher's Stone, but instead, they find themselves in a nightmare, one that mirrors the 9 circles of hell. It's found footage meets psychological horror, historical mystery, and trauma. So why was it overlooked? In my opinion, the found footage genre was burning out in 2014. People were tired of shaky cams and cheap scares. That seemed to have become a thing after the successful Paranormal Activity franchise that started since 2007. But this film is smarter than it looks. It plays like Indiana Jones, but shot in a fever dream. Claustrophobia, guilt, loss, it's all there. The deeper they go, the more it feels like they're sinking into their own personal sins. Wreck. Vamos a España. Wreck is a terrifying found footage ride set in a quarantine apartment building where a virus outbreak turns residents. Filmed like a real news report gone wrong, it throws you into the panic with no time to understand what's happening. So, why did it go under the radar? Personally, I think it was subtitles. Crazy to think that back in the day, people would not tend to read subtitles, but now due to TikTok, things have changed. American audiences tend to skip foreign horror, and when the US remade it as Quarantine, it lost the grit, the tension, the soul. But the original, it's relentless. From the first film to the last one, Wreck never lets up. And that ending, if you know, you know. If you don't, go watch it. Grave Encounters. What if a fake ghost hunting show found a real haunting? That's the premise of Grave Encounters. At first, it plays like satire. A paranormal TV crew faking evidence in an abandoned asylum. But halfway through, the make-believe becomes real. Doors vanish, time breaks, many things begin haunting the crew. It's surreal. At times, it feels like Blair Witch meets Silent Hill. So why was it ignored? Personally, I think that this is what happens with a lot of low-budget films. Due to the lack of marketing and being released in selected theaters, in a world where social media was just starting to be a staple of society, the poster for this film looked cheap and the name felt generic, like a movie that was made through a cable channel. If you've ever feared going insane in the dark, this film is for you. VHS. Horror anthologies are a gamble. Some stories hit, others miss. But personally, VHS was a hit. The framing device is simple. A group of thieves break into a house to steal a rare videotape. What they find? A collection of short films, each more messed up than the last. Amateur Night features one of the creepiest succubus stories ever. The sick thing that happened to Emily will make you paranoid about every phone call. So why didn't this go viral? Some of the segments are weaker. The inconsistency made people dismiss the entire collection. I personally believe VHS introduced a fresh wave of indie horror. It's disturbing, creative, and its rawness is what makes it work. Think of it as a vlog, but a blog where you catch horror live. Eli Roth's The Green Inferno is controversial, and that's what exactly why it deserves your attention. He follows student activists who fly to the Amazon to save a native tribe. They crash and are captured by the very people they thought they were helping. What follows is pure, unapologetic brutality. It's a throwback to grindhouse cannibal films like Cannibal Holocaust. Raw, gross, exploitative, but also deeply satirical. So why was it overlooked? I personally believe due to censorship, delays, and the fact that mainstream audiences weren't ready for this level of discomfort. Also, at the time, the hype behind it made some people expect more than what it delivered. At its core, the Green Inferno is a warning about cultural arrogance, and yes, it's also a film that'll make you squirm in your seat. The Descent. One of the best horror films of the 2000s, and still, The Descent doesn't get enough credit. It follows 6 women exploring an uncharted cave system. They're already dealing with grief, betrayal, and trauma. And then, they find the creatures. Blind, flesh-eating humanoid monsters that have adapted to the darkness. So why is it underrated? Despite great reviews, the US release cut the final scene, weakening the impact. Plus, many saw it as a monster flick and ignored the deeper emotional core. But this film is about inner descent. What happens when you're trapped, not just physically, but emotionally. It's brutal and suffocating. 30 Days of Night. Forget sexy vampires like my favorite vampire, Akasha. These creatures don't talk. They just stalk you down. They kill, fast, brutal, animalistic. 30 Days of Night is set in an Alaskan town where the sun doesn't rise for a month. Perfect conditions for a group of vampires to feed freely and leave no survivors. It's gory, relentless, unforgiving, and yet it was overlooked. Why? I personally believe due to bad timing. It came out in the era of Twilight. People were all into the Twilight hype that was being built through the books. Personally, I also believe due to the fact that it was an adaptation film from the comic books 30 Days of Night. 30 Days of Night is a survival horror drenched in blood and snow. John Hartnett and Danny Huston did a great job in this movie. A cold, bleak masterpiece. Creep.
I didn't even scare you. I'm assuming you're...
Creep is, well, exactly what it sounds like. A videographer answers a Craigslist ad to record a dying man's message for his unborn child. But the guy hiring him, he's strange, too friendly, too off. Mark Duplass gives one of the most unsettling performances in indie horror. It's awkward, tense, and real. Too real. Why was it missed? I personally believe that due to no gore, no monsters, just 2 guys and a camera, too simple of a concept for its own cause. People underestimated how powerful unsettling energy can be. But if you're ever gotten a weird vibe from someone, this film will stick to you. The Bay. Directed by Oscar winner Barry Levinson, The Bay blends eco-horror with found footage and is terrifyingly plausible. Set in a Maryland town during 4th of July celebrations, the film unfolds through police cams, Skype calls, and newsreels. A parasite has infested the water. People are dying. Skin is peeling, tongues are eaten from the inside. Why was it ignored? It didn't get a wide release. It was labeled eco-horror, and many skipped it, thinking it was preachy. But the truth is, it's one of the most realistic horror films of the 2010s. It's no ghosts or monsters, it's nature turning on us. And the worst part, it feels like something that could be happening right now, somewhere in your city, without you knowing a thing. Okay guys, we made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you, highly appreciate you if you made it to the end of the video. Here are my 9 underrated movies. Please go check them out if you haven't yet. Let me know what you think. I'm always on the lookout for horror films, so if you have some, put them down in the comments section. See you on the next video. Take care.